Stats does need all the production he can possibly find, but with the Immortals here, and with the Stalkers here, and with the Storms, another round gonna get ready pretty soon. This is absolutely a hold from Stats. Dark, I've seen him do this a couple times. He did this to Max Pax and Oceanborn last week. The bottom right in the red, taking down Byun 2-1, Hero 2-0, and now in a GSL Group B rematch, it's Stats. Upper left in the red for Talon, it's Dark. And what does Aligulac say about the matter as we talk about Dark and Stats here? 80-20. And this is with Dark going and getting beaten down by Stats in GSL Group B, so I am very excited to see where this thing is gonna go. I don't know what we're gonna see. I know the GSL results. I have not actually seen the games. I think one went actually fairly late. I know it was a 5-hour group for GSL Group B. But again, I'm behind on the games. So there's that, as we're going to see Cybercore go down here. Of course, Stats going gateway into the Nexus and the Cyber. So the greedier side of PvZ openers, which is really one of the reasons you send the probe across fairly early. Did Dark go for it? No, he didn't. So this was just a delayed probe out of Stats early enough to see, is there a pool? Is there not a pool? Do I have to worry about some sort of Dark shenanigans? No, I don't. So I'm gonna go and I'm not gonna get that Cyber quickly. I'm gonna get the Nexus down. I'm going to start to snowball or try to skyrocket my economy just a little bit better. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with this. Is for now, of course, we're gonna see. Oh, okay. I was gonna say we're gonna see speed on the way. Dark gonna go for that, but he scouts out what he sees. The natural sees the fact that there is no cyber. Well, there's a cyber core, but there's no research on it at 224, which means Stargate opener. He cancels his speed. And what does this mean for Dark now? He's got 100 gas. He's not getting speed. Gets a very quick third. Not even all that quick, honestly. 30 supply third base, but he's moving in. He's changed his mind just a tiny bit. And going gas, this isn't technically gasless, but saving the 100 minerals, that's 2 extra drones, right? That can work out pretty nicely for you. This might just mean he's going into roaches behind this. Doesn't really see a need for lings for the most part early, because again, it's Sky Toss, or not Sky Toss, but it's a Stargate opener. Lings don't shoot up, right? So that's really all that matters. And you just get a couple lings out. I mean, a single adept is not going to do a ton. And there we go. So it's going to be a 430 speed finish instead of a 330 speed finish. And again, because this is an Oracle opener, because Stats is not going to really do much. Yeah, Dark can go and he can delay that quite a bit, which I like. It's just a little bit of an efficiency play. And if we talk about Dark and we talk about what Dark does, Dark's builds are not the cleanest. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But they are what he's very good at. He has probably a better understanding of how to manipulate his economy compared to anyone else. And most players, like, they're going to go and they're going to say, yep, I'm going to get my 32 hatch, and I'm going to go 16, 18, 17, and I'm going to put gas here, and I'm just going to follow the build. All right, we're going to go into the mid game. I have branches certainly that I'm going to follow, but I'm gonna be pretty standard. And Dark's response is, yeah, okay, I scouted the fact that there's no warp gate on the way. Immediately cancel the speed. Like, I'm gonna save that money. This is gonna be good. Look at this. I'm gonna get 2 extra drones. This is gonna snowball into more drones. I'm gonna build this economy even faster because I know that I don't need speed until about 440 or so, 430. And that's pretty cool. All right, I do like that. That's a pretty awesome little bit of an adaptation. But behind this, oh god, this is you know what, I've been talking about Dark's builds are maybe not the best thing or the most optimized thing. This is super cool, and this does feel optimized. It's 5 minutes in. Adepts are done now. Certainly link speed is done, but again, who cares? It's done when it needs to be. Dark is immediately queen walking stats here into a bunch of adepts. More gateways are on the way. What do we have right now? We got 2 gateways. Now we're gonna see stasis traps go down, shield batteries on the way, but there's no blink on the way out of this. This is just very, very quickly Ling Ravager, and you got to be so careful with this. The stasis trap can actually hurt stats here as well, because if the Lings go on top, get a surround, the stasis trap goes off, there's no way you're living against the Ravagers here. So now we're gonna see Oracles try to dive on top of these Ravagers, doing as well as they can. And Queens, remember, they don't have transfuses, so Oracles, they are limited in the damage they can do. The stasis trap's actually really, really nice. Biles get on top of the first shield battery, but not the second. Overcharge is going to be there, and this feels like a hold for stats. Queens are, there's no creep, right? So that's going to be pretty nice. Now Oracles are starting to fall down, and you have to be careful about that one. Biles are going to drop somewhere on the shield battery in the mineral, cannon, excuse me, in the mineral line, but it's not going to go down, not just yet. There's another cannon here. Lings are starting to fall down. Queens off the top are starting to fall as well. But this, oh man, this army of stats is just dying. It doesn't have enough here. The warpins aren't where they need to be just yet. There's just not enough shield batteries. Another queen goes down. More Lings are going to show up as Stats wedges himself into corners. But he just doesn't have enough production. This did feel like a hold, and maybe it still is. Does this third base stay alive? Well, the queens are going to fall down. There we go. Oracle's going to try to get on top. Dark's just going to stick on this third base. Okay, well, the third base is dead. Only 4 probes have died, though. And there's no lair. All the Ravagers have died. It's just Lings at this point. Problem is, Stats has no counterattack. That really is the problem right now. There's no counterattack out of Stats, and oh, these Stalkers are so very caught. They're going to have to recall in. Stalker dies. But one thing I would like to see, and this is what we see against builds like this, is what one thing we'll see Hero do in a way that we haven't seen Stats do. He just continuously builds Oracles on this defense. That is the play. You just continuously build Oracles. It means the Lings are just not scary whatsoever. The Ravagers are not scary. Stats isn't doing that, and he does want to rally across. He's got +1 on the way, Blink on the way. He still is up on workers, despite everything else that has happened. And Dark's going 1-1 melee off this because he knows that, yeah, this is going to be a blink response. Oracles don't have enough energy here, so all the Stalkers, I think they're dead. A good amount of them are certainly going to fall. Oh, okay, actually, it's only 2 Stalkers. Maybe not. 4 Stalkers go down. Okay, but more and more Lings are on the way. And this position from Stats, of course, is going to be really nice. Sitting on this position where there is a bit of a SimCity or a bit of a choke. But it's really hard for Protoss to get aggressive off this. I understand why Stats wants to. He knows the Dark did commit to this quite a bit. And at the very least, if he could go and force Dark to build more army units, that not building more economy, that's going to be pretty nice. As we're going to see an Overlord go down. 4th base gets canceled. And hey, those are things. Blink's done here as well. So Stats, 3rd base, just about done. Once again, cancels the 4th base of Dark. Doesn't supply block him, but gets an Overlord, or actually a couple Overlords here. You got to be careful of the surround Stats, but honestly, this Link count's not all that scary. 1-1's not done yet. Knocking down creep spread as well. I don't hate Stats' position. Now, I would love Charge. I'd love Archons or something. I'd like some answer to these 1-1 Links that are going to show up. But I don't really hate Stats' position. Like, it's not horrible. He continues to trade really nicely. And like, critical mass of the Stalkers is not there, but we're getting closer. As these Oracles are taking some damage, Biles are not really going to land. And again, just playing around with these chokes, got to be careful. Again, Biles make this a little bit more complicated. You can't just sit there and have infinite efficiency necessarily. But Stats is on 3 bases once again. He's doing a nice job of clearing this creep spread out. And more importantly, he's playing with this line of sight blocker. Now, there is a creep tumor that he has not caught, which is unfortunate and not really all that great. And the Lings are going to try to get this around, but you can just continue to blink backwards as well as you can. The Lings, yes, they got +1. Yes, they have +1 armor. They do. But this Stalker count is starting to hit critical mass. Starting to kill just a little bit more. A Hive is going to be done soon. Yes, this is true. But it's not there yet. No one festers on the way. Ultra Cavern not getting started. Stats moving himself forward. There's less and less creep spread on the map, which means more and more pressure on this 4th base. Less Lings as well. It's just Ravager, Ling, Queen, but the Link count is pretty small because, again, Stats has been trading pretty efficiently. We're going to see the creep tumor on the backside go down. Now, the one downside of everything that's happening is this Bile is little bit awkward. The one downside of everything that's happening, of course, is the Lings are going to continue to filter on forward. There's no stasis traps. There's not a lot of energy for things like Oracle Pulsar Beams. So these Stalkers are actually getting shredded here by this army because there's no real good anti-Ling tech. The stats does have a 4th base. Yes, technically Dark has 5. Not really. Not really. He's only on 56 drones. He's not mining off of this 4th and 5th bases. Stats has done a really nice job of keeping him back. And yes, there's an Ultra Cavern on the way. Stalkers against Ultras are not bad. They do bonus damage to armor, +2, +3. They can target low numbers of Ultras. They can target them down pretty nicely. Eventually, of course, you want Immortals and things like that. But for the most part, Stalkers are not. You want Immortal Archon, of course, but Stalkers are not that bad. At least not for the first hit, unless Dark has a bunch of them done. So Stalkers on the navigation around. Now, Lings are going to look for the counterattack. These are +2 Zealots, and even with the heavy upgrades on the Lings, it's not really going to be all that great. So Ling's not able to find the counterattack. Stats trying to put pressure on this hatchery, but he's not really going to find it. But I would like to remind you that Storm is done. More High Templar are going to get made. We don't have a Warp Prism, though. So Stats, despite having this Robo, which is building Immortals on top of this, but he knows what's up, right? He sees the upgrades on the Lings and is like, yeah, no, okay. Ultras are on the way. That sounds like fun. Stasis Trap triggers off, both on the same thing. Unfortunately, they do overlap a little bit, which, well, a stasis unit, a unit lost to time can trigger other stasis traps. So it's a little bit overlapping there. It's not great. But anyways, 3-1 on the way for Stats. He's got more Archons getting added in, Immortals being made. He's got Storm here. And this army that Stats is building is becoming very, very strong very quickly. Yes, there are Ultras on the way. There are 2 Ultras done, but they don't have Chitinous. They only have +2. That is not enough. Not just yet. They really have to be +4. They really have to be +5 on armor to make sure that they can defend. Now, Stats is being very careful with this. He's got an army on the right side, Archons, Immortals. He's got an army on the left side, much bigger. Ultras, Zealots in the middle of the map. The Ling Ultra does beat this army from Stats in the middle of the map here. But what this does mean is Dark's going to lose 2 armies. Or lose 2 bases. He loses the 4th base. And the thing is as well, this base is going to go down. This base also likely to fall. The problem with this is, yeah, Lings are going to find their way in. There's always going to be a recall. I think Dark just loses more than ever he's ever going to get. Yes, Lings in the main base, but Warpins should be able to handle this. There are cannons here that can be annoying. Stalkers, Shield Battery Overcharge is going to be really solid. This base is dead. The economy of Dark have never been very good, but the problem is, more importantly, the army supply, the tech of Dark, is going to get shut down. Dark doesn't have a bank. Stats kind of does. So yes, the Lings are being annoying. Yes, they have Adrenal. Yes, they're doing nice things. Yes, they're depowering the Forge, and this is all worthwhile to talk about, but Dark has no army. Like, he's got nothing. Ultras are going to get shot down by a bunch of Lings. I mean, you blink on top of it. Yeah, they got Kindness, but who really cares? And not a single Storm has been dropped, by the way. So these High Templar, you want to maybe more. Okay, 1 dies. I guess you want to maybe morph the low ones. And this Ling Ultra will eventually be dealt with. There we go. Ultras are dead. Lings are, well, the Stalkers are in a corner, so that's going to be fine. And into the main base we go. Dark has absolutely nothing. He's still in this game because of reasons. He is very dead in this game. Stats takes game 1. If you like this and you want to see more StarCraft action, most days when I am less lazy about putting things on YouTube, but generally most days, you should go, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you should go hit the sub button on YouTube, because most weeks you're getting StarCraft 5, 6, 7 days a week. Stormgate when that is up and active, but casts, opinion pieces, whatever it is, you should go and do that. And also go follow me on Twitch, because I stream this stuff live. If you want to go hang out with me in Twitch chat, that is also a pretty solid thing to do. But we are looking at game number 2 here, and we saw Dark do some pretty cool stuff in game 1, as Stats really seems to like this delayed probe count. It's not a 12 scout, like a 13 scout, or it's like a pylon scout or something. And that means that, well, Dark is not, he's able to get his natural down at his natural, which is always very, very nice for a Terran, or not for a Terran, for a Zerg player, to make sure you don't have to deal with adepts between your mineral lines, and you don't have to deal with lost mining time from probes or from drones moving from the main base over to the third. It's just not, it's not great. That seems to be okay with that because he'd rather optimize his build than put pressure on his opponent's build. Is I think the way we talk about that. So it's going to be a Stargate opener from stats once again. Dark. He's got 100 gas. Does he actually go for speed though? Once again, the answer is no. As he pulls his drones away from gas exactly 100, but also, you know, he knows that there's no warp gate on the way. Not until about 236. So briefly researching Burrow, but that was a mistake. Dark did not intend to research Burrow. Just so we're clear. That's fine. Thank you. As long as something's in production like that, you can cancel it for a full refund. Thank you, Starcraft, for not punishing my accidental Burrow research. We've all been there. We've all done it. Regardless, Queens are on the way from Dark. Third base on the way. You know the story here is we're going to see Fling scout out that, oh, because their third base on the way. Well, we don't know, but there's an Adept right there. And the fact that the Adept is scaring things away is probably a good, reasonable approximation that, yes, there will be a third base on the way soon enough. But I really like what Stats is doing here. He's got a third Adept on the way with these Oracles. I think he's identified that Dark's really delaying his speed. So he says, okay, that's fine. I'm sure you can do that. You can optimize this. You can play greedy on this. I'm going to build 3 Adepts and I'm going to have these Oracles. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on your ground units. And you know what? Like, slowlings are just not as good as speedlings. As we're going to see Adepts thinking about shading it. Not there just yet. But now, third Adept just about across the map here. I'm assuming. Where's that third Adept? Is it in the wall? Stats playing a little greedy. That's fine. Okay. But he did force a decent amount of lings. At the very least, there is that. Okay, so Oracles, they're going to get a creep. Oh, that's a ling, not a drone. Okay. Well, they're going to get a creep tumor. They're going to get a ling. First Oracle doesn't get a ton. Second Oracle arrives just a little bit more. Some more Adepts are going to get spent. Is this... I mean, there's a lot of Adepts at this stage in the games. Now Oracles are going to try to dive in. 1, 2, 3. That's a lot of damage on that Oracle, though. And, okay, we're going to... 3 drones go down. All right, third Oracle now on the map. And just a lot of Adepts defensively here, making sure that some sort of ling run by doesn't accomplish a ton. This is a lot of Adepts. We're looking at 7 Adepts on the map right now. But I think what Stats has identified, there's no Roach Warren. There is... nothing that fights this number of Adepts well at all. Dark is droning like a madman trying to play greedy on this. We got 9 lings, 7 queens. There is not a ton that deals with these Adepts. As they think about shading forward, not really going to complete that. Meanwhile, Oracle's in the main base, 4 more drones, so making a grand total of 7. Fourth base on the way. And this is forcing, not only is this getting drones, this is forcing a ton of lings. Because again, remember, when you commit with lings like this, Oracle's back. Yeah, okay. So the wounded Oracle's back at home. Now 2 Oracles are pretty wounded. That's the end of that one. When you commit to Adepts like this, you do need a significant ling response. You know, lings don't fight Adepts all that well. You need a really good surround. They just do not trade well. So making sure you have that forces Dark to not have his economy nearly as developed as he would like. 60 odd workers at 6 minutes in is pretty slow. 550. Yeah, there's the 4th base, but it's not done yet. Certainly 5th base on the way here as well, as Dark kind of goes for that macro hatch idea. Technically, yeah, it's a 5th base, but this is going to be a macro hatch. Now that's really what we're going to be looking at for the future, for the foreseeable future. And look at this stats. Blink on the way, certainly, but he's going to go for like a 3 Colossus build. Now this is not all in. To be clear, a year and a half ago, we go on Blink Stalker Colossus was considered an all in. Absolutely. But it's not an all-in here. Protoss players kind of realize that if you just don't keep the Colossus forward, you put the Stalkers forward, they make trades, they find the Vipers, they knock them down, and then you move the Colossus forward. And it's totally viable. Very, very doable. It can be pretty nice. But well, I will say the one thing, as we look at what's happening here, is Stats has been aggressive with the Adepts and aggressive with the Oracles. He's gotten 7 workers, something. This has not been that committed of a game. Or I should say, this has not been that like committed of an aggressive game from Stats for the most part. He's just really attacking hard, which means that, well, Dark can get a very quick hive. His hive has started at before the 7-minute mark. which means that his ultras, his whatever he's going to want to go for, it looks like ultras as we have 1-1 melee on the way. His hive timing is going to be extremely fast. And as this is Link Stalker Colossus, yeah, Stalkers can do well against ultras, but they're not like the unit that you would want. And a lot of robo build time is going to be here building Colossus. It's only single robo. I do think you want to figure this out. I mean, obviously you want to figure this out as stats, but I think in this game it's incredibly important that stats figures out what's happening, because otherwise I think he might just get rolled over by a bunch of ultras. Colossus do not kill them very well. Again, Stalkers kind of do. And sure, Colossus deal with the Lings fairly nicely, but this does... Okay, I thought stats was rotating. Okay, there we go. The Changeling will fall. You have to be very careful of your stats right now. This is not a setup where this feels comfortable. Although seeing the +1 on the Lings, I think that is a pretty solid thing to see. That's a pretty decent bit of information. So, you know, okay, +1 Lings only done just now. This is delayed +1, as we're going to see a drop in the main base, but that gets really not a lot. Yes, there's a burrow in the main, but it's 2 Lings that got out. So nice job there, stats. Really nice job defending properly. He's got his 4th base on the way. He's actually 4th base done. He's mining up that one well as he can. More Vipers on the way. And what do we got here? We're at 2 Colossus. Baneling's getting morphed in. Does stats have a push timing right now? Storm is getting made. Somehow, the Lings unburrowed right before the cannons are done, and they get 3... Despite the Stalkers being there, they get 3 probes. Okay, I did not expect that. But anyway, so stats. Dark, we talked about this being a Macrage. Dark has a ton of larvae here. He's got no mining here. He's on 81 probes, though, so his economy is pretty dang solid. But Storm is about halfway done. 2-1's just about done. Adding in Immortals. Stats doesn't really seem to like this double robo idea. Which is something we noticed in the Beyond series. We're seeing it here as well. And on 80 probes, on 5 bases, you can support double robo. You can support triple robo sometimes. And what I'm saying is, like, man, chronoing out a bunch of Immortals seems like a really good idea. I do like at the very least that stats has transitioned out of this. High Templar have to be very, very careful. Storms are going to be pretty juicy here. Yeah, those are extremely juicy as Dark's now trying to get aggressive on the map. Oracles, Parasitic Bomb on these Oracles is enough to pop 2 of them, pop the low ones. Well, maybe Shield Battery? No. Okay, well, Shield Battery's going to keep the high one up, but the other ones, they will get popped down just a little bit. So these Links are just annoying. But for now, we're going to see, there we go. Second robo on the way. Lings sharking around on the left side. Tons of cannons here. Stalkers are what they need to be as well. So stats, he's just defending. His army's not... Oh, come on. Kill these Baneling stats. Please kill these Banes. Please kill these Banes. He's not going to. He's not going to see them. But again, this army is really tough for Dark to deal with, at least at the front side. So Archons are here. The Zealots will fall, certainly, but they're going to fall fighting Lings instead of fighting Banelings, which is absolutely what you want. Banelings... Okay. 15 probes go down because the run by on the 5th base, excuse me, gets a little bit more. This is still pretty expensive. From Dark, yeah, stats lost a lot of Banes. Absolutely, but I mean, that was still pretty dang expensive there. Or a bunch of probes, and as long as he doesn't lose the base, I don't really hate this all that much for stats. He's gonna lose the base though. Response is just not really quick enough, as the body block on the Changeling is gonna be pretty solid. Meanwhile, Lings, yeah, they're still in the main base. This Ultra will not go down, and stats, he's trying to build this killer army. There's Omega, I'm gonna kill you with this army. What's our Viper count in? I think, yes, okay, still Vipers. Still 2 Vipers here. The Revelation's going to go on that. But now Dark, I was just going to try to go for this run by. That is not getting much of anything. That's a bunch of dead Lings. How many Lings have died this game? Only 200. Resources lost are very much not in Dark's favor, but his economy is very much in his favor. And again, the 5th base going down. That's kind of the big thing that really we're looking at right now. So, nice abduct there on the Oracle. I think you want to build another one of those if your stats, just to make sure that you have the vision that you want, because this army, notice what Dark's doing, right? He's not going and ever taking a straight up fight. It's I'm attacking into the natural and the 3rd base and the 4th base and the 5th base at the same time, because that's a nice catch right there. Because realistically, This army that Dark has never wins a straight up fight. So it's all about the base trade. Stats not maxed out. Okay, so he can warp in a bunch of stalkers. He can deal with this as Archon's attacking into the 4th base, into the 3rd base. That's going to be dealt with. Lings are on, or Ultras are on this base. Archons, they should be able to defend this, but still 17 more probes go down. Now, Nidus goes down in the natural. Are we all more Banelings here? Stats. The Shield of Fire, the man who is known for his defense, is unfortunately not defend. Oh, okay, the Archons are moved in position as well, so they're not attacking. That's a lot of dead Archons. Stats is rapidly getting to the point where he's going to have to just go all in. Okay, Immortals in the middle. Ah, no, they're trapped here as well. This is, oh man, this 30 dead workers. 5th base is going to go down here as well. Dark is swarming, and Stats is just, he's half a second too slow. He's half beat off, and it's hurting him. 32 dead workers. 5th base is dead once again. 4th base has very little mining. It's 44 workers to 80. And Nidus goes up on the main base once again. Zealots are going to get warped in here, but some of them are going to die as they warp in. Now, this is going to be dealt with, sure. But Stats just kind of sitting here and defending is not perfect enough. That's really the promise. Oh, Blinding Cloud on top of everything. It's really, I mean, the storms are nice, but Immortals will fall down once again. They really can't fight against everything. Granted, Immortals against these Lings aren't incredible anyways, but yeah, Dark is... Stats never moves across the map. Dark just kills him, never lets him move out. And we move to game 3, which does not feel all that good. As again, we're going to see Gate Nexus. So, Stats going for the same thing, 3rd time. Again, this is not, it's not all that surprising. Like Gate Cyber Nexus is not that weird. Pretty common. But given the choice between the two, this is the slightly greedier approach. And I don't think we're going to see anything different out of Stats in this 3rd game. He's done the same thing twice in a row. It's the way the Protoss players play for the most part. Just, again, getting your Stargate up, doing some harass, getting your 4th base, getting your 3rd, playing aggressive, being annoying with your probe for as long as possible. Hey, just, you know, do what you can, right? Doing what you can. But now, what does Dark do with his first 100 gas? Does he again delay? I think he is. Yep. Well, it's going to be Stargated once again. So certainly we're going to see the delayed warp gate, which means that Dark's like, yeah, nah, I have 100 gas. And messed up. 2 extra trips on the drone, 108 gas. But like, I got 100 gas. I'm not going to spend it. I'm going to get those extra drones. I'm going to go and be as efficient as possible. And on a map like Hard Lead, not quite. I don't think this is quite short enough that you can go for a queen walk or anything like that. You just go and play the game as one does. You can move a little bit more, a little bit further forward. So, we've kind of seen the same opener like 3 times in a row. We should see Dark like the next 10 seconds. He's going to start speed probably. But we've seen the same opener like 3 times in a row. Dark goes, he plays as greedy as possible. Stats opens Stargate, moves across the map with a couple of depths to maybe force a couple more Lings. And, we just go from there. So, Adepts continue to not not move forward. So the Adepts, they're just shading forward right now. They're not really doing all that much, but eventually, maybe they do complete. They're not going to complete this shade, but they're providing some decent scouting information. Oracle thinks about diving in. It's first Oracle. You don't expect to get a ton of damage done, so instead, nice. Some of ready to like that. You'd like to see that. Adepts not going to shade forward though. They're not going to go and deny a little bit more. So the Revelation doesn't get a lot done, but our 3rd Oracle's going to be out soon. And it's fun how StarCraft has evolved, by the way. We're not going to see this creep teamer go down, but instead Oracle's in the main base because Queens are out in front. There's just a lot of Queens on the map right now, so you got to be careful there. Stats takes some damage, loses 2 drones, but not much more than that. Oh, this Oracle feels a little bit misrallied. I gotta try. It's a single Oracle. It's not gonna get a lot done. As long as it doesn't take a ton of shields, you're okay. But the oracles are a little bit split up. Ah, okay. Well, we're going to see. Yeah, no, there are too many queens right here. This oracle at this point is in danger of going down. So oracle will not fall. Speed is done, by the way. So Dark did go back for it. He didn't go and go for nothing. But we have a reasonably timed layer. It's not a particularly quick one. And our Twilight is faster than the last game. So we're not going to see that. Oh, well, oracle's dead. Damage done to the spawning pool is not worth anything whatsoever. But we still do have 2 oracles. They're going to move forward to depths on a creep clearing mission, which is nice. Again, anything you can do to keep the Zerg back at home, keep them on their toes. Thought about shading in there, but too many queens, too many lings. But Stats is doing the more hero build, 2022 hero build, I guess. Right, so it's going to be Blink +1. Timing out roughly around the same time. Delayed robo, if you even get it at all. And we go from there. So, yes, aggression on the map right now, pressure on the map right now with these oracles, with these adepts, but their job is not to really kill Dark. You'd love to if you could, but their job is not to kill. Their job is to put pressure on, deny creep spread, maybe get a drone or 2, trade off some lings, but just to force Dark to build things that are not drones, to force him to scale a little bit less efficiently, as we're seeing. It's funny, a laser gets a lot of credit for the laser lords. Dark doesn't, but Dark has been, I've noticed, Dark has been doing this for a while now. Or even with a Hydra build, because he's been playing this Roach Hydra style. He did it against Max Packs in EPT NA finals recently. But he's just built, like, he's super saturated. He's building like 7 overlords at a time when he goes to move out with his Roach Hydra. Really just anything. It's like, well, yeah, you know, you open up a little cap because roaches they're very supply expensive, but going up to 100, going like to 100 at a 168, it feels like it's a little bit rough. Feels like a little bit much Dark. But because Dark's one of the best players in the world, we don't give him nearly the amount of flack that we give a laser. Now, that being said, Storm is done in about 30 seconds or so. +1, Blink is done very soon. +1 is going to be done here for Stats. If he can hold on for the requisite 30 seconds, and honestly, I think you give up your 4th base if Dark really pushes it. I don't know that you can hold on. I don't know. Stats is not in position to defend this 3rd base just yet. He's down like 1/3 of the army supply. But if you can buy this time, Blink is now done. That's going to be pretty nice. Not a ton of Stalkers here, and 1 Oracle will fall. Shield battery overcharge is going to be popped for now, and ideally, remember, you have to keep these High Templar alive. They cannot get dove on. They are the linchpin of this defense. So Stats is going to try to defend as long as possible, slowly giving this position up. Again, giving up each inch as slow as you possibly can to maximize the value. And now Storm is done. Blink is done. +1 is done. The 4th base is dead as the Roaches try to dive on top of the High Templar. But hey, guess what? There's a stasis trap there. That's going to be okay. So Stats, his army supply, it's not impressive. Not yet. We have Immortals on the way. 4th base is dead. But honestly, this is it's not an all-in from Dark, but it is a pretty significant timing. As for now, the Storms are not incredible. You want to land them on the Hydras. That's really the important thing. Is Dark says, okay, this is fine. You're on the 3rd base. Let me run into the natural. But the problem is there's a sentry right there. There's a force field right there. There are Stalkers that are warping in. More Storms. They're not really landing. Dark is doing a fantastic job of keeping himself split. But the Stalkers are going to continue to gain value over time. Now, we will see a gateway go down. That's not great. Stats does need all the production he can possibly find, but with the Immortals here, and with the Stalkers here, and with the Storms, another round gonna get ready pretty soon. This is absolutely a hold from Stats. Dark, I've seen him do this a couple times. He did this to Max Pax and Oceanborn last week, 2 weeks ago, or something like that. It just, yeah, the supply, 145 to 110, you might say, oh, this is good. I just don't like it. I mean, I guess in this game, it's if that's a free Hydra. I guess in this game, it's a little bit more cost effective than when we saw Max Packs defend against it, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel all that good. And now Stats is 1-1, +2 attack, just about done. He's got his 4th base on the way once again. This army is down in supply, but not unmanageably so. And certainly with Immortals and Storms, the army value is a whole hell of a lot higher. 2,000 gas. A whole hell of a lot higher indeed. +2 just about done. Stats has to be careful moving out on creep like this. This is still this is a concave begging for a fight, but man, those storms are solid. Dark just backs up once again. Now, what he really wants to avoid is getting shoved into a corner. As long as you're on the middle of the map, as long as you're on creep, you can go and you can split around and bait storms out and back up, bait storms out, back up, do it again. If Stats is able to attack into you and drop those storms in a position where you're forced to properly defend, it becomes a little bit. That's a fight that is much, much harder. But for now, Fleet Beacon on the way. Stats realizing that, this ground toss army is good. Not going to be great. And yes, there are going to be lurkers on the way. So as its only single Stargate, kind of getting the sneaking suspicion here that we're going to see Tempest as our first unit out, which I really like. It's not like there's a ton of anti-air, right? Yes, there are Hydras, but they're not incredible. Oh. All right, then. We saw Stats do this in the GSL, I think, actually. We saw Classic do this in the GSL. We took down Dark. This mothership timing is pretty dang cool. Well, Roaches and Hydras on the left side are going to be a little bit annoying as Dark is never attacking any one angle. Now, we're going to see one Lurker fall down. Now, a lot of gateways are going to fall down on the left side, which is not really what you want. Second Lurker falls. And again, this mothership is going to take forever. I mean, truly forever to pop up. So this is 3 dead gateways. 4 dead gateways over the course of this game, as now the wall is going to go down as well. Dark is just being annoying here. You might think like, oh, okay, my tech is good. Sure, fine. Dark is playing technically Roach Hydra's like a Deathball army. And Dark is just multi-pronging the hell out of him. Storms on the left side. The Lurkers are there, so you can't really take that fight easily. Lurkers now cutting off the natural, or the position between the natural and the third. I think Dark has killed Stats here. Like, this is just a position that is very hard for Stats to break down. Lurkers on every side. Yeah, he's got a ton of Immortals. Stalkers are lined up in a bad way. That is not the concave that you want. The Lurkers will fall, but Stats is like 100 supply. And Mr. Defense, Mr. Shield of Ire is just not handling this well, unfortunately. If you're a Stats fan, you're not. This does not spark joy. I mean, yes, there's a mothership out, but what is it doing? There's no production here. What does Stats have? He's on 6 gateways. Everything's depowered. Robo's depowered. Gateway's depowered. Stats is not a happy camper. Nidus in the main base as well. No warp-ins because, hey, gateways are depowered. Like, this is a problem. Mothership pops its invisibility as well to take a fight. That doesn't really do all that much for you. Hydrogen Links in the main base. Another Nidus pops up. 31 dead probes. This one Lurker, 3 kills. Stats is dead. Again, Stats just playing a little bit slower than Dark is. And Dark moves on to the finals versus Gumiho.